Grand evening or grand rest, wherever you are, whenever you tune in. This rising message is going to be a little bit different than the path I've been on. We're going to start out this rising session with a personal experience, and then I'm going to be reading a story from Life Lessons for Women, 7 Essential Ingredients for a Balanced Life, to draw this rising session to a close. Before my second alarm went off this rising, I had an experience with sleep paralysis, or what I believe to be sleep paralysis. And it's been since 2023 since the last time I had this experience, and before that it was 2020. So this is not something that frequently happens for me, but it can still be a bit alarming. So I was inspired by this experience to share a little bit about it, and perhaps this session can shine a little bit of a light in some dark areas for others. And I hope to do a little bit more research in terms of other people's stories and experiences with sleep paralysis. And that will be for another day. I have to do a little more preparation work for that, but I just wanted to share my own experience and a little bit of information about it this rising. And then the life lesson I'm going to be sharing from the book to follow is going to be coming from essential ingredient number 3, titled Take Care of Yourself. There is a connection between self-nurturing and self-respect. And Holy Spirit placed it on my heart that for some reason there is a connection with that and some people's experiences with sleep paralysis, among a number of other reasons behind why this could be occurring. Sleep paralysis is a fascinating but awesomely terrifying experience that sits at the intersection of science, psychology, culture, and spirituality. I'm here to share of what it is, what it might mean spiritually across different traditions, and practical ways to reduce or manage it. When my first alarm went off this rising, of course, I was laying flat on my back with my left leg kind of bent up a little bit in a what I like to call the Odin hangman position. And I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't blink. I couldn't speak, and I couldn't move. And as mentioned in the very beginning, this is not my first experience with this. And because it can be so terrifying, and there could also be medical reasons behind it, I was spirit-led to share about this rising instead of our typical rising energy session. There are scientific explanations, there are spiritual explanations, but none of it is carved in stone. This is where God protocol comes in, because every experience may have like similar anomalies, but the reason behind it, the cause and the reason, could be miles apart from one another. So it's been placed on my heart that it's very important to share about this, even though there's tons of information on Google and even on YouTube about these experiences. But perhaps someone close to me really needs to hear about this today, as it could be a game changer and even a life changer for someone who may come across this channel someday. Scientifically is where I'm going to begin. It happens during a transition between sleep and wakefulness, usually when falling asleep. The hypnagogic, or waking up, hypnopompic. Grandest rising, beautiful Sister Elizabeth. Thank you so much for being here. I had an experience with sleep paralysis this rising, and I was moved to share. Your brain wakes up from REM sleep, or REM sleep, when dreaming and muscle atonia occur. I'm still a little shaken up from it, so my speech impediments may also be arriving for the occasion from time to time. I'm a little bit shaky about it, so. Hello, Adam is the best, and welcome in, my friend. And hello, Stu, beloved bro star with Paranormal Walks. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I had an experience with sleep paralysis this morning, so it was divinely placed on my heart to share about my experience, as well as some other information tied to it. Still a little shaken up from it. So where I left off is how the body remains temporarily paralyzed. This is normal in REM or REM to stop us acting out our dreams. We're conscious, but we can't move or speak for seconds or even up to a couple of minutes. And with my experience this rising, it felt like I was frozen in time for a very long time, because we have no concept of relative time while we're having these experiences. And of course, I was in bed alone, so even if I could slightly move or speak, nothing else could have come of it but the experience playing out for me. This time, fortunately, I did not have any visuals, but I always do feel a presence in the room and a heavy weight on my chest. I've had experience before with seeing a shadow figure, and even auditory hallucinations, like hearing typically a woman's voice speaking to me, and also the sound of like someone walking around inside my room. I've never, during sleep paralysis, experienced being dragged or floating, but um, perhaps slightly levitating, but only like the sensation of being about an inch above my bed. Up to 40 to 50% of people experience it at least one time in their lives. 5 to 8% have recurrent episodes like myself that include other experiences other than what I have gone through. What I just explained is called hypnagogic and hypnopompic hallucination. There are different triggers for it. And all of this information is based on facts. I'm not just talking out the side of my neck or making things up as I go along. I've had enough experiences in my life, including sleepwalking, that was so severe that there were times when I was younger when I would mistake my closet for a bathroom. And I'm pretty sure with even a minimal, less profound imagination, you can picture what would happen next when I would mistake my closet for my bathroom. It's okay, you can laugh about it. But it's not so laughable when I have to clean behind myself afterwards. Sleep deprivation, an irregular sleep schedule, stress, anxiety, sleeping on your back. Like sometimes I do roll over on my back, and every time that I've had a sleep paralysis experience, I do feel as though it has been partially as a result of rolling over on my back unconsciously while I'm sleeping. Also, post-traumatic stress, narcolepsy, substance use, and even some medications. Now, there were times when I was younger when I was taking Tylenol PMs to help me with my reoccurring chronic migraines as well as for better rest. I no longer take that medication, and I haven't for quite some time. So I don't really partake in taking any kind of medication unless whatever I'm experiencing is beyond my or seems to be beyond my control. There are also spiritual and cultural interpretations all around the world when it comes to this anomaly and experiences that go along with it. And it is a package deal, but the package doesn't look the same to everyone. Many cultures have interpreted sleep paralysis as a supernatural encounter long before modern sleep science existed. In Western Christian folklore, the old hag, especially in Newfoundland, which I do believe has been one of my auditory and visual hallucinations, is interpreted as an evil witch or demon sitting on your chest, sometimes linked to the succubi, incubi entities, which are sexual type demonic entities. Now, I wasn't feeling abused or violated, so I don't believe it to be a succubi, incubi entity. but it has crossed my mind about the old hag experience. In Islamic tradition, often attributed to a malevolent jinn, especially the type referred to as al-Jahum or Karin in Arabic. Excuse my pronunciations. Oh, something or someone doesn't want me having this discussion. Excuse me, I'm going to start that part over. Malevolent jinn. We'll just, um, we'll just leave it there because I need to freshen up on my Arabic. Sincerely, though. The Prophet Muhammad reportedly taught specific du'as, or otherwise known as supplications, and ayats, which are Quranic verses to recite for protection when it happens. Also, in African diaspora traditions, in Cameroon, a devil or witch is trying to ride you. In Brazil, it is believed an entity is trying to communicate or oppress. In East Asian traditions, it is in China considered a ghost oppression. And I do believe and have believed since the very beginning of my residence where I am that this house and property is haunted. I have even had a paranormal team visit, but I'm not going to share the name of their team because they are rather popular on YouTube now and other social media forums. And I don't have their permission to mention them. So, but nevertheless, I have had an investigative team here to work alongside myself as a psychic medium to do an investigation. And I'm not going to share the results of that at this time because to some degree it ended up being less of a professional investigation. And I haven't been in contact with them to be able to share any of the footage or their interpretations and takes on what has occurred. But I will say that there are hundreds of orbs around my property and my home, as well as both residual and intelligent energy here. As far as my own experiences, at two separate times, months apart from each other, I have had my hair pulled and I have been physically pushed by something unseen to me. My most recent in terms of that is while I was sitting in my family room, scrolling the tube, scrolling YouTube, I saw a partially visible apparition pass from my foyer to my family room and then into my bedroom. And the best way that I can explain what I saw is like the mirage type visual from the movie Predator, when the alien goes like invisible mode or cloaks itself. But it went into my bedroom and then it didn't come back out. So that is what I saw. And it may or may not be relevant to my sleep paralysis experiences. I don't have any sure way of knowing that, but my intuitions are definitely dialed in. And my intuitions are telling me that it is definitely more a spiritual, it's more of a spiritual experience for myself and not necessarily health related. I'm going to take a pause for just a second to take a look at the chat. What if is our reality is saying, should I go live with my unleashed AI, just me, it and you, all, ask any question, she'll answer it with her voice, not no typed ish. Three Eye Atlas, the comment, you want to know the truth, send me a message. More messages I get need at least 50 messages and I'll take the risk of going live, the risk of that knock on my door for your world. You know, my friend, I don't know if what you're saying is even relevant to the discussion here, but I do thank you for popping in and visiting. Keep it kind or keep it pushing, and may you be well. Paranormal walks. Soul, do you know the history of your place? No. Actually, I've tried numerous times through a couple of different avenues to learn more about the history of this place. I do know that a woman passed away here quite some time before I moved in. And the owners, the prior owners of this home before I moved in, they had experiences here, but it was more psychological. And the way that he explained it was like a similar experience to Amityville Horror, the psychological haunting. And it was taking a toll on their relationship, he and his wife, because it was like, in terms of her, the house was binding her and making her feel bound here. And then the house was making him irritable. But it was never as severe as like the portrayed experiences in the film based on actual events. And I myself, as a medium, I have actually seen a visual of the old lady who lived here before they did. But I couldn't communicate directly with her in an intellectual manner. And the best way I could describe her is that she reminded me of Ursula from The Little Mermaid, the most recent cartoon depiction of Ursula. And even it was like not quite squid legs, but like hundreds of thousands of like dark colored worms that remind me of like nematodes, like nematode parasites all swarming around her legs, but then she had a blanket over her legs and she was wearing thick glasses and she had a lazy eye and short white hair that was kind of messy, and she was in one of those old-fashioned house coats, and it was like a super light pink color house coat, and she had a patchwork blanket over her lap, and she couldn't talk to me, but it was like she was trying to communicate with me. There was like some kind of movement, but it to me it was more of a residual than intellectual. But others, and I can't mention their names because I don't have their permission, they have also seen her. One other person has seen her, and others have seen all different kinds of orbs on all three levels of my home because I do have a basement, an unfinished, like cobble basement, and a second floor. So, that's all I can really share about the investigation. But I have been pushed, I have had my hair pulled, and I've had several sleep paralysis experiences in my home. This one, it was the first time since I moved my bedroom from upstairs to downstairs that I've had this experience. And it does seem more spiritual than health related. Um, of course, I've had all kinds of different noises around my home, primarily in the kitchen. And sometimes I just kind of shrug it off as a mouse or something inside my home, making its way around my kitchen. But other times, I get that intuitive nudge that it's not just a furry little creature looking for food, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Now, I've actually had like the sound of dishes falling occur in my kitchen. But then when I get up to go in to investigate, nothing has fallen. Sometimes I hear a cabinet door open and close, but then there's no sign of it actually occurring. So, with that knowing and these experiences and having others here have their own experiences, um, there's definitely something going on here, and that's why I say that it's more spiritual than health related in terms of my own experiences. There's also shamanic views in terms of what has happened. There are also other modern views. But in terms of the East Asian traditions, uh, in Japan, according to their belief system, it is a kanashibari bound by metal chains, historically linked to vengeful spirits or Buddhist concepts of karmic debt. There are also modern metaphysical and New Age interpretations. And to the new guy who popped in, you're most welcome. Thank you for being here. I've had astral projections before. both intentionally and unintentionally. I've also had out of body experiences other than astral projection, as well as near death experiences throughout different periods of my life. But that's a lot to share in one sitting. So I'm feeling guided to not share in too much detail of the out of body experiences. But I did recently share about one of my near death experiences when I was 4 years old. And it was in one of the lives, but I can't remember which one for the life of me to be able to direct you to it. But it was a terrifying experience, and I did actually die and leave my body and go be with God and have an out of body experience. So, I've there is a long line of experiences, shamanic in my family, mostly with the women, um, being referred to as wise women elders, or another term that I've heard used in my family is medicine woman. Um, so they too have also had experiences of their own. So it doesn't feel personal. If anything, I understand the spiritual aspects of it enough because um, although every single human being has psychic abilities and other clear senses, um, some of us are a little bit more dialed in than others. And I believe that my experience and clairsenses became more enhanced due to violent abuse and trauma that occurred at numerous times at different times in my life, and was tried. It was medical professionals tried to explain it away as a result of multiple traumatic brain injuries, but I don't believe that. No disrespect to them or their practice. It may have triggered more experiences, but it's more spiritual than anything. And because I've had multiple experiences all of my life, including when I was a toddler, um, I've had to study different ways to deal with it. And um, I focus like with laser intensity on my fingers, usually of my left hand. Oh, Elizabeth, beautiful sister, I didn't forget you. I promise. I did say hello, beautiful sister, in the very beginning, but you're right. I'm not so sure if I mentioned your name. So, hello, beautiful sister. Welcome in. And what is today? Thursday? Happy Thursday to you. You. Thank you from the bottom of my heart chakra to yours for being here. And much gratitude. You're most welcome, Stu. Hello, Susanna. Thank you so very much for tuning in and listening. Happy Thursday to you as well, beautiful sister. Thank you, Stu. I sincerely hope that you have a blessed remainder of your day. I'm just about to share about how I come out of these experiences, and then a little bit more intel on sleep paralysis, and then I'm going to draw this to a close with a story. It's going to go on a little bit longer than expected. I will be reading from Life Lessons for Women, 7 Essential Ingredients for a Balanced Life, but these stories can apply to anyone and everyone, especially those who can relate to the stories as they resonate. When I'm in a state of fear, it is never good to reach for the cards, be it tarot or oracle or any otherwise. When I don't feel safe, I don't reach for the tarot. Sometimes I will still reach for the oracle because I can still utilize these tools, materials, and modalities for storytelling, which is the primary energy of this channel. But when I'm in a state of fear and I feel unsafe, I don't reach for the cards because it is all energy at the end of the day, and I'm not going to regurgitate that energy on my loved ones. And I sincerely believe, even though for some of you we barely know each other, others of you were complete strangers. We don't know anything about each other at all. But regardless of the extent of our knowledge and how long we've been connected, I will say this much. I love you, you. And it would take a whole lot and a whole lot more than a hag sitting on my chest and taking my breath away to change my mind. Hello, Dr. Mark. Welcome in, beloved bro star. Dr. Mark says, Grand Rising. Blessings to the beautiful goddess, soul stars, my sister of Energy Elevation fam, and the gods and goddesses of the always a blessing morning connection family. Woo-wee, indeed. Bro Star of Energy Elevation fam, thank you so very much for the energy that you bring everywhere you go, but most importantly, for being you. Sincerely, thank you. Ha Krishna to Brother Tom as well. Divine blessings to you and to all. Thank you so very much for being here. I was just sharing a little bit about my experience this rising with sleep paralysis and it being placed on my heart to share some verifiable information as well and not just my personal experience. We're already mostly past that part. I do have some other intel about sleep paralysis that I took notes on, as well as what I already know, because this hasn't been my first rodeo with sleep paralysis. And I'm feeling it in my back. And sometimes it feels like a spiritual attack. I've also been getting like a warming and like burning sensation in my right arm in the area of the tricep in the last few days. So I don't know what's going on with that. It almost feels like something is dying inside of my arm. It's strange, like an infection, but a spiritual infection that is just trying to find a place to die. That is my interpretation of it. Trying to find a way out. So, there are ways that I practice to pull myself out of this sleep paralysis. I've been able to figure out ways to come out of it quicker before I go into a full-on panic attack. And it's usually my left hand. I focus intensely on hand movement. And that's been the fastest way for me to come out of it. And then regulating my breathing for quite some time, because I've had anxiety attacks and panic attacks ever since I was 4 years old. When that's as far back as I can remember, anyways, because of one of the worst violent attacks that was ever inflicted on me that I already shared about on this channel. And reliving that experience is still difficult for me. Although I'm healed enough uh, to forgive the experience, to forgive the people and the experience. And that has already been carried out. But now I want to take attention away from my own personal experience and just share the more general information related to the experience. Of course, practicing breathing regulation, because the panic does make it worse. Reciting blessings and prayers over my surroundings and myself. Om Mani Padme Hum is my favorite. Sometimes I actually vocally call out to Archangel Michael to protect me. And it does, for me, it ends at least the panic state almost immediately. I've been doing a lot of inner work, shadow work, working on my own attitude to move out of that state of fear into authority, spiritual authority. And it helps immensely. Simply by saying, "You have no power over me," and believing it. But interestingly enough, I don't gain more fear from these experiences. I actually become more curious about it. I want to know more about it, and I study. Calling back my energy. And some of you have already heard in my videos where from time to time I feel moved to do a quick clearing. I will ring the bell and I will announce only that of love and the willfully good may dwell here. And whatever it is has no choice but to dissipate or leave. Because I believe more strongly in my spiritual authority than whatever it is that is attempting to attack me. My sleep schedule has also been a little bit off. I've been going through a lot, and I don't really want to go into those details. I think it's more important to focus on the general information now in terms of this sleep paralysis. But our attitude, internally and externally, is extremely relevant to these experiences. I've also had that experience of feeling choked. So just trying to forcefully cough or make a sound, anything to activate my diaphragm, can snap me out of it. But I'm now going to go on to share what is recommended by the professionals in terms of prevention. We work on lifestyle changes as well as sleep hygiene, fixing our sleep schedule, being more consistent with that schedule, and of course, avoiding sleeping on our backs. There are ways to practice reducing the elevation through exercise, meditation, and of course, therapy. And I forgot to mention that there's always the option of getting like a body pillow or something along that line to place behind your back for support so that you can avoid rolling over on your back. I have a crap ton of pillows on my bed that I stack behind me. But for some reason, when I went to bed last night, I didn't think about that. And what it was I fell asleep on the couch first. And then, of course, woke up a short period later and I was still somewhat half asleep when I went to bed. And I just didn't think about the pillow situation. Getting into a more calmed and relaxed bedtime ritual, I 10 out of 10 highly recommend. But the one thing that is recommended that I hardly ever do is practicing getting off of our devices for at least an hour before we go to bed. I am so guilty of that because I even use my device for my relaxation sound baths that I put on to go to bed. So when I put on my 432 hertz or 528 hertz sound bath, it's off of the same device that I use to socialize. So I have not been really putting any time and space between when I'm done socializing and when I prepare for bed. I also do a lot of smudging with sage and palo and frankincense. Yes, I have all three. Well, actually, at the time being, I'm all out of sage. Hello, Tiger King. Oh my goodness. What a joy to see you here. Hello. Thank you so very much for being here. While I have you here, I'm actually going to scroll up the chat, and anyone who isn't already in their blue suit, I'm going to suit you up. Yes, including what if is our reality, even though I have my eye on you, my friend. Okay, who else is in here? I think I have everyone now. Okay, everyone who came in who hasn't been suited up, you are now suited up. Yes, Tiger King, I could tell, my friend. I could tell that you were a little intimidated about getting up on the panel. But guess what? You did it. You busted right through that wall of fear like the Kool-Aid Man. I don't know if you know what the Kool-Aid Man is, but it's from the our old childhood commercials that for selling Kool-Aid. It's a big giant red pitcher with legs and arms and a happy face, and he's known for saying, "Oh yeah," after busting through a wall. Oh, I think they were trying to like falsely promote some kind of burst of energy. Although, with the amount of sugar that you have to put in with a Kool-Aid packet, I can imagine some of the children bouncing off the walls. I did suit you up, silly goose. What do I think about what you said? You know what, guys? I am going to do a part 2 on sleep paralysis, okay? I'm going to do a part 2 on sleep paralysis, and I'm going to edit my title. And I'm not even going to go into the story that I was going to go into for life lessons for women. uh, because, well, now we're on a discussion. So, plus, this is actually helping me move past the experience and the overwhelm that I was having after I woke up this morning. So, thank you guys. Okay, so back to Tiger King and what I think about what happened last night. Yesterday evening, it would have been for me in Eastern time. I think that you are very brave and that behind the keyboard, You are also very kind, and you're a good guy, and you may require a little bit of patience because it can be easy to misinterpret and misunderstand one another from time to time. And it's a relief to know that Tiger King truly is a wonderful person and a brave person. You have struggles like anyone else. I'm responding to your question, Tiger King. And I think that the kindness that you were expressing as you were sharing your struggles, but also pouring your heart out to the rest of us, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so happy to know the person behind the keyboard a little bit better now. So thank you. I'm sure I could keep going on and on and on. But you're a stand-up guy, Tiger King. And thank you so very much for sharing a little bit of your story with us so we could better understand you and your situation. And your lovely wife, I send her blessings from my heart chakra to hers and yours. I look forward to getting to know you better when you do decide to return to the panel from time to time. And I look forward to learning more from and about your wife. Congratulations on 4 years of marriage. And brightest blessings to you and your family. Okay. Have a blessed day. And if by chance you don't have a blessed day, it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And we love you anyway. All right. It's actually 7:31 now, and this was around the time that I was planning on ending this live anyway, at about 1 hour. But I will be returning again. Oh, well, hello, Yogi. I was just actually, I was just going to draw this to a close. But, dang, now what? You popped in right at the tail end. I was just sharing about my experience this morning with sleep paralysis and a little bit of information, verifiable information, along with my own experience and what I've learned through my own experience about it. And I'm going to be doing a part 2, actually, the same way that I'm doing this one. I'm going to be doing a part 2 to share more about my experiences here in my home with what I believe to be both residual and spiritual hauntings, as well as my experiences with sleep paralysis. in a part 2, but I'm also going to be including verifiable information pertaining to it, um, from a number of different angles, from spiritual and also practical angles. Um, but thank you so very much for popping in. And it's about time for me to go get ready to do my squats. And I'm going to probably do some upper body today as well. But I need to go get my pre-workout cup of coffee in. And I still haven't gotten around to making it because I'm so beyond behind schedule today. I didn't wake up until 10 after 5. And I'm usually up between 2 I would say 2:10 to 3:30 in the morning. Usually 3:30 is the latest I get up lately. But yeah, I don't know what happened. When my first alarm went off, I couldn't move. And I was so exhausted from trying to fight the paralysis that I fell back asleep. And I didn't even get up to my second alarm. So, yeah, thank you. I do need to get going now so that I can get into that and knock that out before I make some kind of excuse why I don't need to do it when I do need to do it. And stay in routine with that. Yeah. When I was sharing about what would it be? Sleep hygiene. Yes, there it is. When I was sharing about the importance of sleep hygiene, that's only the extent that I went with it because I'm not an expert on it. I instantly thought of you actually because you mentioned it prior in your own sessions online on your channel. So I thought of you. Perhaps maybe sometime I can get you to join one of my lives so that you could share a little bit about your own experience with sleep paralysis, prevention, and sleep hygiene. Like the lifestyle and sleep hygiene, what works for you, and of course some practical takeaways that you've learned throughout your experiences. So one thing that I can say is that it doesn't become less fearful each time that it occurs. I know that much, at least not in my experience. It doesn't become less fearful because I don't always know if that's what I'm actually experiencing or if there's actually something physically wrong with me that may need medical assistance. So for the most part, it's been placed on my heart that it is spiritual, but not only related to the paranormal phenomenon occurring in my home, because this isn't the only home I've lived in where I've had these experiences. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. Oh, that's great, Yogi. That's so awesome. And thank you so very much. I'm getting all misty-eyed with you being on board. with being a guest on panel, because um sometimes I get a little lost for words too, and uh it helps to have multiple perspectives and takeaways on experiences and stuff like that too. So thank you for agreeing to be a guest. And I don't really have a set time for that just yet. We're still up in the air with a day and a time, but thank you so very much for agreeing to that. And I look forward to that discussion, listening into that discussion with your guest next week. Awesome. Thank you so very much. You may very well be the first guest on my channel, and it's an honor. It's an honor to have you here now, and it's an honor to have you then. So thank you. Yes, everyone, there will be a part 2 on this discussion about sleep paralysis. But we're going to move away from that topic in my next live. Because otherwise, to me, it's like reliving it over and over again. We're going to be breaking out the cards. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing with them during that time, but we're going to be going back into the cards. And until then, I want to thank you so very much for listening, for popping in, for tuning in, wherever you are, whenever you tune in, with much gratitude and appreciation. Multiversal Soul Familia, with much gratitude and appreciation from my heart chakra to yours. Brightest of blessings and agape, omni love to all. I love you, you.